Now we are
Hey,
live.
so
Hey.
yeah, no, we're for sure live. So you might be wondering what Alexis and I are doing back on Alive. Well, we're here to answer our awesome new community members' questions, such as what do we even do at UBP? Why do we do it? And how would your support help folks like us at UBP? Well, first off, if you haven't met us yet, hi, it's so nice to meet you. My name is pronounced Linet, she, her pronouns, and I go by Dr. Mera for formal introductions, or Linet is if it's just us. And I am co-executive director of the Unconscious Bias Project, along with
Alexis, I am also co-executive director at UBP, and also my pronouns are she, her. And yeah, I'm excited to dig into it. So for the folks that can't stick around, please check out our end of the year fundraiser in the link in the original post. So, Lynette, what's our first question?
let me pull up the notes. Aha. So the first one is a softball. What do you do at UBP? So what do we do at UBP? Alexis?
What do we do at UBP? A little of everything. So we are, as most folks know, a consultancy and education, DEI education nonprofit, and so that means that we do services like our core lab, which we do several, many times a year. Um, that core lab is around what bias is. How we can fight it in ourselves and also how we can intervene when we see it. We've also got a unconscious bias 101 presentation that we do. And we also have custom labs, we have lab series, we have leadership labs, all sorts of stuff. We also do climate surveys for diversity, equity, and inclusion, where we can gauge how folks are feeling in the company and find areas for improvement. And we also do just generally a lot of advisory work. For instance, right now we're helping an organization develop their diversity, equity, and inclusion strategic plan for the next 5 to 10 years. Helping them map that out has been a huge challenge, but also a huge reward. And UBP is super proud to be working with that organization to make an impact. Yeah, that is roughly what we do. Lynette, did I miss anything?
No, but I think if you haven't thought about what a workshop would look like or what a climate survey even means, we basically help you out with that people and culture bit at your organization. And we have lots of really great different tools that are evidence-based that we really, research and work on and develop over time to give you something that is totally tailored, 100% bespoke to your organization. And I think that summarizes our services. Yeah.
So those, yeah, so those are our professional services. But Lynette, we don't just do professional services. What else do we do?
That's true. So we also have a lot of really great outreach programs. We've been really lucky to count on wonderful volunteers and really awesome partners in this space, in the activism space, podcast space, community organizers, all sorts of folks. And what we do currently, or what we're trying to do every year, is first off, we have our podcast. So Unconscious Bias Project podcast. You can find us on Spotify, on Apple, Anchor, or wherever you listen to your podcasts. There we are currently interviewing and looking for guests that can just talk about like what's currently going on in their community, whether they're really passionate about. We recently published a podcast with our buddy Viv Tran, and we talked about like the nonprofit industrial complex. We have another podcast coming up, sneak peek, with our friend Dr. Liza Toulousan. We've also recorded one with Enrico Manalo. And, we just have all these really great guests that really, dive deep into what it means to build an inclusive community, what it means to change the status quo that's out there, anything from like the deeply personal, like how do I deal with grief, and how do I build community when I'm trying to process grief, to something like how are we even thinking about activism on a global scale? How can we really connect with each other to make our movements like actually make change? So podcasts, I could talk about that forever, and we do talk a lot on our podcast. I think you'll have fun. But also, every year we are doing a series of outreach events. If we're not pandemic restricted, we like to do these in person, in or around the Bay Area and California. Since we are COVID restricted lately, we have been doing some really great events. So earlier this year, we had our Breaking Bread and Bias series, where we had events we had Trans Day of Visibility, AMA, we had Be a Better Imposter, that was aimed at Latinas in professional and academic groups. We also ran a part workshop, part panel, Stop API Hate and Activate, and we read inclusive books for kids. I know I'm missing one. Oh, we did an exploration on identity, like a series online. And you can find all or most of these resources as we're uploading them on our website, ubproject.org. And we have lots more in store for the coming year. So yeah, our outreach is really fun, and it's one additional way that we get to give back to the community. And it can be anybody, you don't have to be an organization. Anybody can come. So I actually think this next question is really important, and we don't get asked it enough. But at our last podcast, where we guested on the Alexis podcast, Enrico asked us, why do we do what we do? And it's been sort of like rattling around in my head since then. And I just wanted to share that with y'all, because I think that's really important. In this line of work, really, and what we do, it's important to have a calling, I think, for it, a passion, something that's personally connected with the mission. And that really does something for you. So, Alexis, why do you do what you do at UPP?
So, I used to be as most folks know, I used to be a teacher in middle school for 12 whole years, middle school teacher for 12 years, where I taught Latin. And, you know, over the years, right, I saw so many young students, young, amazing people who felt displaced or out of line with the community that they were in for a number of reasons. They felt sidelined, they felt marginalized, and it just it broke my heart. Like, it always made me sad seeing these kids, and especially because also, as we know, you know how we uh, how we are included or not included affects our mental health, can spiral out into also physical health. Um, and it makes me sad when I think about those aspects, those negative aspects, those negative repercussions. And it makes me really excited to do things about those and to help be part of the solution, help make happier, healthier middle schoolers. And really, adults are we're all just taller children, right? Um, and
True that.
so with adults as well, I see still a lot of those things. When we look at workplaces, we see a lot of those same repercussions on mental health, on physical health.
Mm.
Um, and I just don't want that. I want people to be happy and healthy and in a place where they are valued. Um, And so that's really the biggest reason, is just the personal. Um, it's all about people.
Mm. Yeah, here. Thanks, Alexis. That was really
Yeah.
nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think from my end, I think what helps me sort of, if I've had like, okay, if you know me personally, I am a mom of a toddler.
Hmm.
And they do tend to wake up at nights.
Yes, they
And
do.
sometimes they don't let you sleep, get to sleep early enough. And, there's always like parenting stuff to do. And so when I'm really tired and I'm like, okay, I need to like get up, get ready, and, get my kids to school and then go to work, what drives me are those little moments after even just like a 1 hour presentation, or after like our 3 day, like multi-hour workshops, or, even, we just got off a call with a client today, and, people talking about like, I didn't know about this, or this is the first time I've heard it this way, or one person said, I've have thought about racism and sexism, but I've never thought about what is the experience of another professional like me who does my work but with a disability. Like, how can I be more aware and mindful of that? Or another group that said, we've always thought that diversity, equity, and inclusion were important, but we weren't really talking about it. And it wasn't until after your program, your workshop, the Q and whatever it was, that caused that like aha moment. And then like now we can talk about it, and it's not like taboo. It's not like I'm gonna mess up. I love those moments, and they're what make it all worth it, because it's not easy. It's not easy work. I wish it was, but we take a lot of care in what we do. We work really hard to make sure we're blending like all the like, seriousness and what's that word? Like care in handling different difficult subjects with all sorts of different kinds of people, as gently but honestly and openly as possible, without making people recoil, right? So it takes energy, it takes time, and guess what, there's a bunch of business behind that too. So there's like contracts, there's like we have to schedule things, we have to make things work on drive, we have to, I don't remember, like I've been scheduling like so many meetings this year. Anyways, it's a bunch of hard work, and it's those like tiny little like those snippets, that moment, which I wish I could just capture in like a jar or something and look at them all day, are what get me up every day. And I think the reason why I started UBP and decided to make this like my work, and I was like, Alexis, I need your power. Come be a part of UBP with me, was this realization, much like you did, like inclusion is a choice. It's something that I learned through very, challenging experiences through my life. And if inclusion is a choice, then we can choose to include, right? We can see exclusion and we can choose to include. And if we keep on, keep that mindset on, if we keep on trying, if we keep on using tools, if we keep exercising that, like we're seeing change with people. We're seeing people moving conversations. We're seeing people connecting over, past harms that they really want to resolve. This stuff is really powerful. And yeah, that's, I
Yeah.
kind of wax poetic there, but that's, that's why I do it.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you. Yeah, so thank you, Lynette, for that great response. So we have one last question for this live, which is, how do these wonderful supporters who are viewing this, how does their support help us if they donate?
That's a great question. So we're actually in our end of the year fundraiser, Inclusion Happens Together, and we're looking to raise $2,500, which may seem like a lot to some folks right now, or may seem like really little to some folks right now. But this basically helps us cover 5 whole months of operating costs. And our operating costs are literally like just what we need to function. I'm talking paying for Zoom that we use every day with our clients for our workshops, consultations, paying for an app that helps us caption our podcasts, running Google Drive, paying our website hosting, paying independent contractors when we need help with our website, for example. We use a PDF editor because PDFs are so hard to deal with, and you have to like really shell that out, ahead of time, because we want to make really quality experiences, whether they're with our clients or we're doing outreach events. So when you donate to our end of the year fundraiser, you're actually like that. Even $9 goes a long way, and everything that you donate is completely tax deductible. We have nonprofit status through our fiscal sponsor, Social Good Fund. So when you donate to us, you immediately get that tax deductible receipt on FlipCause. So I will share that link in a second. And FlipCause actually supports donation matching. So if your company offers that option, or if you have a friend that would like to match your donation, it's super easy to do. And on the subject of donation matching, just before this live, we got notified that one of our super awesome sauce community members has offered to donation match the first $1,000, which is almost half of the entire amount that we're looking to fundraise. So that means that any dollar amount that you donate now counts for $2. So you can't beat that. Like, what a way to like double your impact, directly affecting inclusion, directly affecting our ability to do our work, directly, impacting how much time and resources we can dedicate to the work that we do versus like, trying to schedule everything, talking over the phone for hours or something like that. So it's really exciting for us. We're very grateful for our community, and we really hope that you'll join us if you're here watching us for the first time, and be our co-conspirators by donating. Or if you're a longtime supporter, like, go and hit the donate button. So actually, that's a really good point. Alexis, let's take a look at the FlipCause page together. And could you let our folks know about what they see when they open up that page?
Yeah. So first of all, there's a super easy way to make a contribution right on the landing page. So if you want to create a sustaining contribution, you can join our monthly supporter crew by donating, excuse me, by donating any amount monthly. And this is super helpful because it does help us plan for each month. Then there's also a bit of a fun menu, our special contributions. You can pick to gift a consultation to an organization or person that could use help on, moving their own podcast forward is one that we've gotten. Developing DEI plans, all sorts of things. You can also sponsor a mini workshop, which is an active practice session for nonprofit and educational organizations of any size. And lastly, you can also choose to take a bite out of our operating costs to cover any number of months for each of our operating costs. So this is like covering, for instance, our where did it go? Where did it go? I know it's on here. There we are. So for instance, that is our podcast editing, operating costs, continuing education, where Linet and I do training, go to conferences, virtual facilitation space, Zoom, email management, workbook editor, et cetera, et cetera. So you can help take a bite out of those operating costs through that right there. Yeah. So that's a quick tour of what you can do on our donation site. Um, so I think that's it for today, Lynette. Yeah.
Yep.
And so please remember to share our fundraiser far and wide. Our goal is $2,500, and we aim to reach that before December 31st. So if you've got any questions about the fundraiser or what we do, you can drop us a line at ubp@ubproject.org. So ubp@ubproject.org. So thank you so much for tuning in.
Thanks, everybody.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.